So again, knife safety wise, using the claw grip, so curling my fingers in and tucking my thumb behind. So I actually can't cut myself with the knife unless I bring the knife up over this knuckle, which I would notice if I was doing it. If you want to get fast, then practice safety. So you won't get fast if you're cutting yourself all the time. I had three main ideas that I wanted to talk about in this video. One was making meal components. The other one was roasting vegetables. And the third one was balancing flavors. So that umami flavor translates to richness, basically. These mushrooms got a lot of it. Alright, this is going to be 2 pans worth. Got my oven preheated to 400. Usually have my oven at 400 for any vegetables that I'm roasting. Get you guys out of the way. Get you out of the way. And it's just going to be salt and oil, or salt, pepper, and oil. Oh, scoundrel. Alright, so oil. Yeah, it seems like it's a lot of oil. It's kind of a lot of oil, but it's a lot of food too. And it's like, how much salt? Can you even see that? You probably can't. How much salt? It's like probably more than you think. But you know, how much seasoning that you put on something depends on how much thing that you're seasoning. Also depends a little bit on personal preference. But if you're unsure, then taste it. Taste the thing that you're seasoning, and if it tastes seasoned to you, then guess what? It's seasoned. And if it's a raw onion or mushroom or something like that, it's not going to hurt you. Mushrooms, though, they're a little bit tricky because they're going to shrink down. So if your mushroom tastes like a little under-seasoned right now, then it's probably seasoned perfectly because it's gonna shrink down on you. All right, we've got this bowl here. You see that? Big bowl of mushrooms and onions. I'm just gonna spread it out on a couple of pans. Now, the more that you crowd your pan, the less browning you're gonna get on your stuff, because there's water in everything. There's actually a lot of water in what we're cooking right here, these onions and mushrooms. And if your pan is too crowded, then the water's just going to come out and it's going to kind of boil. It's going to kind of boil in the pan. So give them a little bit of room. This isn't a ton of room, but it's not super crowded either. You see that? So we're going to put this in the oven. We're going to probably start smelling it after 15 minutes. It's going to smell really good. In the meantime, we're going to cut our other veggies and eventually make some room in one of these pans to roast those other veggies off. Alright, we got our onions and mushrooms in the oven. They're going to take a little while. So let's cut up our asparagus and zucchini. The asparagus comes in a lot of different sizes. These are kind of the thinner variety. And there's the trick, like, because you know the bottom part of the asparagus is kind of woody. If you snap it, it'll probably snap at about the perfect place. But also, if you're a little bit lazy, notice how where it's snapped is like basically right exactly at the bottom rubber band. You can probably just cut the whole thing off right there on the other side of that rubber band, and you're good. With all of these asparagus stems, I'm gonna put them in my scoundrel. Gonna put those in my stock bag. I love cutting asparagus because it goes super fast, super duper fast. Everything that you cut, every time you cut up your roasted vegetables, you basically want to cut them about bite size. Maybe a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger. There, I'm done cutting that asparagus. Love it. But what about this asparagus over here? Oh, you mean that asparagus? Done. Can even scrape it off. Zucchini goes pretty fast too, maybe not quite as fast as asparagus, but a little bit off the stem end, a little bit off the root end. These guys go in the stalk bag. This is kind of long and unwieldy, so if you cut them in half, they're a little bit easier to manage. Let's just do all 4 here. Stem end. Come over here, you rascal. Root end. In half. Alright, and nothing fancy here. Just going to cut them in half lengthwise. Cut a flat surface on the zucchini here, so put the flat surface down. It's not going to wobble around on you. And so this is how big I cut the asparagus. This is going to be done in a 400-degree oven, probably in like 7 or 8 minutes. So cut these so that they'll be done at around the same time. That's going to be probably like a 1/2 inch thick half moon on the zucchini. A lot of this comes from experience, but also like you just got to play around and see what works for you. The nice thing about cooking when you're learning to cook is like it's not brain surgery, it's just food. I mean, it's frustrating when you're learning, to mess something up and to, be looking forward to a dish and maybe you don't get to have that dish that night because you learned on it and you messed it up, but it's like, it's not like you were trying your hand at brain surgery and it messed up, where the consequences would be a lot more dire. And most often, if you do, have a learning moment, that is to say a mistake, you can roll with it. You can change it into something else. One of the things I really love about Julia Child, loved about her, is that she would make mistakes all the time, and she just rolled with them. And she showed that cooking, even cooking kind of high-end French food, doesn't have to be intimidating. It's just food, and you can make mistakes, and it's okay, right? What did Bob Ross say? No mistakes, just happy accidents. Cutting my zucchini. So I'm cooking for a family of 3 here. This is going to be a pretty good amount of roasted vegetables. This is going to be the majority of our freshly made food for the week, and then we'll supplement that with, maybe some frozen things and this and that. But the key is that we're going to put this into several different things through the week so we don't get sick of it. Alright, that's the asparagus and the zucchini. The onions and potatoes still have a good amount of time, so I'm not going to season this yet. If I seasoned it now and waited another 15 or 20 minutes until the pan is available, then the salt would draw a lot of water from this, and instead of being able to get a little bit of browning on it in the oven, it would be really liquidy and it would just kind of steam. So we'll hold off on that. And I can smell the onions and the mushrooms already. It's starting to smell really good in here. And we'll come back.